Hey everyone, Wydek welcoming you to Game 3 of a Best of 5 series from the Kaspersky Arena September 2013 edition. And this time on Neoplanet S, we've got spawning in the top right as the red Zerg, representing Team Liquid. It's the Little One. And the Little One was able to claim victory in Game 2 to even up the series against his opponent in the bottom left, spawning as the Blue Terran, representing Team Empire. We've got Happy. Now, both games were pretty macro-oriented, so if the first two games were any indication, Game 3 will probably follow a very similar pattern. Both players like to macro up before they engaged each other. TLO was able to win the last game very convincingly, as he was sitting on 5 bases to Happy's 3 for a large majority of the game, or at least a large chunk of the game. And eventually, Happy ran out of minerals, and it's hard to train an army when you don't have any resources to do that with. Now, Happy is opening up with the barracks at the ramp. Very conservative play. Looks like TL is saving up some resources here. And he's going to be moving that drone, so it looks like it's going to be hatchery first at that natural. Now, on Neoplanet S, I think this map is kind of disadvantageous if you are a Zerg, in regards to Zerg creep especially, because it's difficult to have enough Zerg creep to go around the map, simply because on Neoplanet S, there are 2 ways to get to your opponent's base. This is the south side route and the north side route. And as a Zerg player, you need creep spread to get to your third. And once you go up to your third, this is typically your third, for example, then your creep can expand this way, so you need multiple creep tumors to go this way, you need one to go south. If you take this expansion, then are you going to go south as well? So creep spread on this map is a little bit difficult for Zerg players, so that might be a little bit of an advantage for Happy. Another thing to note is these yellow minerals in the middle of the map that almost no one ever claims. It's interesting to see when a game does actually get to the point where players are trying to get these yellow minerals. They're so difficult to mine from, just to set up a base, because it's so prone to an attack. I don't think they're going to play much of a role in this game. So Happy is going to be training Reapers, it looks like. He already has 1 Reaper out. Now, we do have Zerglings and Queens coming out from TLO, but by the time that Reaper reaches TLO's base, those units will not be ready. They'll be ready soon after the Reaper's arrival. So the Reaper is going to be able to spot the timing of that second hatchery. And he's just going to run up that ramp. And now he's going to start harassing that mineral line. And those drones are under fire. The Zerglings are going to try and pick off that Reaper. Now, the last game, Happy lost that Reaper immediately. And that was kind of a huge setback at the beginning of the game. And I kind of think that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. Now, Happy is not going to let that happen again, but he's going to the natural, and TL actually has some drones here. He has to morph them into some buildings, otherwise he's going to lose these drones. And actually, he's able to save that drone and actually not even turn it into a building. The Reaper is in the red, but it will slowly regenerate over time. And it looks like Happy wants to be aggressive here, but once again, with those Queens out, the Reapers are going to have a very difficult time penetrating that defense. And it looks like TLO is holding steady. Happy has 2 Reapers, not able to do any real damage here. And he's going to run in here into the natural. Able to pick off 1 drone. Not bad for Happy. He almost lost a Reaper. And if TLO was able to pick off a Reaper, that would have been a very bad trade for Happy. But TLO only loses 1 drone. And it looks like he lost a Zergling as well. So good defense by TLO. At the same time, it looks like the Hellions are dealing with a little Zergling infestation at that front of that ramp. That Zergling is not going to do very well because it has no range and no life, as it's burnt into some very incinerated Zerg barbecue steak. And it looks like the Reapers are going to be moving about the map. They're looking for an entranceway, but once again, with these 2 Queens at the front door and with this very good creep spread, TLO's even getting creep spread in the front of his base and in the main part of his base. And I think this is good because when you don't have entire vision of your main base, it's very easy for opponents to drop in your base later on in the game. So if you get creep spread here, you'll actually be able to see everything in your base, including drops. We do have the Roach Warren and the Evolution Chamber coming up. Happy's well-timed scan is able to see that. So Happy does know that Hellions are not going to be very good against the incoming Roach Horde, so he's going to have to adapt his unit composition just a bit. 3 Creep Tumors do go down. A 4th one, and the 5th one is going to fall. No, it is going to be canceled, but Happy was able to destroy 4 Creep Tumors, and that's going to delay that creep spread, and I think that's vitally important as a Terran player. You want to deny that creep spread. You want to deny that access to the increased speed bonus, and also the vision. Because once the creep is basically everywhere on the map, it's very difficult to surprise Zerg opponents simply because they have vision of most of the map. So, good move by Happy, picking off a few of those creep tumors, but TLO is still going crazy with him. He's got 2 forward queens here, and he's also got his 3rd hatchery in position, but the Reapers have spotted as well as the Hellions, and now it might be a choice for TLO to decide what he's going to do. Is he going to hold on to this 3rd and send units to defend, or he's going to give up on it? It looks like he's going to choose to defend, but the queens are very weak off creep. They are very slow, and if these Hellions and Reapers decide to just run by, these queens might not be able to catch up. Now, we do have the Zerglings actually trying to create a flank, but they're actually going to retreat. This 3rd hatchery looks like it's going to finish. And Happy is stabilizing on 2 bases, but if TLO gets this 3rd base up and running, that economic advantage is going to shift over to TLO. And he has quite a few Zerglings as well. Supplies are fairly even, and like I said before, this creep spread is fairly impressive, going north and south. And actually, TLO is going to be setting up even more creep tumors at his new 3rd base, so that creep spread is going to go into hyperdrive soon, right after this. And the Reapers and Hellions are poking around looking for extra things to do damage to, but there are no hatcheries here. And no hatcheries means no drones, so these units are going to stand idle for just a bit. Now, Happy is composing an army mostly of Marines, just like in all the other previous games. But once again, TLO does have the upgrade advantage. There was a point in the last game where Happy actually had 3-3 for a while, and TLO only had 2-2, and he only had Lair Tech. But Happy wasn't able to turn that into a victory, and it looks like with all the Zerglings surrounding the Hellions did pop. The Reapers are going to pop as well. It's just a matter of time. There we go. So lots of units lost for Happy. Unfortunately, his entire scouting expedition was finished by this horde of Zerglings. So Happy has lost quite a few units now. Now this Viking is asking for a lot of trouble here. These queens can fire on the Vikings all day with no retaliation. And now with TLO settling on 3 bases, Happy needs to move quick. He either needs to get a 3rd base of his own, which is kind of difficult, especially with all this creep spread, or he's going to have to do some economic damage, and I think that might be the better choice here. And he's going to start moving across the map. He's got a whole bunch of Marines, and he's got tanks. So this is a very Wings of Liberty-esque sort of build. Generally, Terran players like to get Widow Mines because of the mobility. But tanks can do the job too, but sometimes if they're in bad positions, you'll just lose the tanks for nothing. And he also has to be careful because we do have Mutalisks already here. So if the Mutalisks choose to harass the mineral line, is Happy going to be able to retaliate? Now, a lot of creep tumors do go down with that 1 scan. 7 creep tumors I counted. But the Mutalisks are able to pick off 1 tank. The Mutalisks are doing a fantastic amount of damage, and they're going to run away now behind this cliff so the Marines cannot reach them. The Banelings are rolling in. A great pickup by that medevac. A little risky because of all those Mutalisks, and that medevac is going to be targeted down. And it looks like all the Marines were able to escape except just 1. So Happy was able to evade that Baneling attack, but it looks like the Zerglings are popping out, and it looks like a big flank on the left and on the right. The Banelings are going to roll in and do a lot of damage to the Marines. All the tanks are blown up as well, and Happy's going to tap out. I mean, Happy's down by 40 supply or so, but I don't think he's necessarily in a position that he can't recuperate from. He's down by 40 supply. What does he have in his base? I mean, he doesn't have that many Marines. Yeah, it looks like Happy is quite a bit... He would have to have a very, very advantageous confrontation in the next encounter with TLO. I think that Happy tapped out, and that's very unfortunate for Happy. He's going to be down 2-1 in this series. So we'll have to head over to Game 4 and see if Happy can force a deciding 5th game, or if TLO is going to move on to the next round.